Alright, hello everyone and welcome to a video on graphing by input-output table, otherwise called graphing by an XY chart. So this is going to build off of our functions, and we're going to use a function to actually graph some lines. So we're going to represent what those functions are graphically. So one thing I want you to remember that as we do these is that this is just order of operations. So all this is order of operations a lot of times. So that's all this is we're just doing order of operations in these different scenarios to fill out our chart. So we're going to jump right in with an example. Now, the graphs that I give you in class are going to look like this. They're going to be tens all around. So whenever we pick our numbers for our XY chart, we want to pick the numbers for our X that give us closest to the middle. So we're going to pick -2 to 2 every time. That way we can try to keep things within our graph because the problems I give you are going to be fit to that. You don't actually have to pick that every time, but for the problems I give you, that's the best option. Always feel free, though, as you do these, to do different ones. So, one little other thing here to add is that f of x means y, essentially. So you're going to see me write f of x, or you'll see me write y. So like for this first one, I'd say y equals x minus 2. It could say f of x equals x minus 2. And then what we're going to do is we are going to set up our XY chart. We're going to pick the x's as -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Remembering that the x is the horizontal axis and the y is the vertical axis. And we're always going to go left, right, then up and down. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to take each of these numbers and we're going to plug them into this equation. So we're going to start with x equals 2. -2, sorry. So the first one, x equals -2. So it's going to say y equals, and then in place of x, we put 2. So what we did there was we replaced x with -2 in parentheses. So we substituted. Now we're just going to do this operation. That's a -2, sorry. Now we're just going to do the operation. So -2 minus 2 is -4. And we got this by doing -2 minus 2. Then we just take this -4, put it up here. And then we're going to do the same thing for everything. Now, this can take up a lot of space. If you want to do this every time, I encourage you to do it until you understand what's going on. I'm going to do it here for this first example at least. So now we're going to plug in the -1. So we get x is going to be -1. So it's going to say y equals, in parentheses, -1 minus 2. And we got this by replacing x with -1 in the parentheses, and then y equals -3, and we did that. We did -1 minus 2. We can put that here. And then we'll just keep going. X equals 0, so y equals parentheses 0 minus 2. So we replaced x with the 0 in the parentheses. And you'll notice that the only thing that's changing every time is the parentheses. That minus 2 is always there. So you're only changing what the x is. We're not going to change anything else. And then we get y equals -2 because we did 0 minus 2. Then we do x equals 1. So y equals parentheses 1 minus 2. We replaced x with 1 in the parentheses. Then we get -1 because we did 1 minus 2. And then finally, we do x equals 2. So we get y equals parentheses 2 minus 2. And here we replaced x with 2 in parentheses. And these numbers here, they came from up here. They came from up here. So we get y equals 0 because we did 2 minus 2. We got 0. Okay, now that we have our chart filled out, we are going to graph. So chart filled out, graph. So here we're going to take our graph, and we're going to just put each dot. So we're going to go start with -2, 4. So we go -2, -2, -4. So -2. So graph each point. So we get -2, -4. Then we do -1, -3, 0, -2, 1, -1, and 2, 0. We put all those dots, and then we just draw a line through them. Doesn't have to be a perfectly straight line. If you want to use a ruler, you can. But that's essentially the graphing. All right, and then we're going to do another example. So I'm going to set this off to the side. Our next example says f of x equals 2x minus 3. If you don't like the f of x, you can change it to a y. And I'm going to go through this a little faster since I'm limited on my time for these videos. But what we're going to do is we're going to graph, and we are going to still pick x's and y's, and we're going to pick the same numbers for x and y. We're going to do the same exact process. We're going to plug in the numbers. It's just now we've got a couple more things going on. So 4x equals -2. And again, that's just coming from right there. We say f of 2, so we put it in there. Oop, it got all fuzzy on me, sorry. So we say f of 2 equals, we take the 2 from there, replace there, minus 3. So this 2 came from there, this 2 came from there, the minus 3 came from up there. And then what we just do is order of operations. 2 times 2 is 4. Drop down my minus 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. So we put a 1 there. For x equals -1, we say, oh shoot, I messed that up, didn't I? So let's scratch all that. Scratch all that. Scratch that. So it's f of -2 equals 2 -2 minus 3. So 2 times -2 is -4. -4 minus 3 is -7. So that's a -7. Now we're going to take f of -1. The 2 stays, so that 2 stays. The only thing that changes is what's in the parentheses. 2 times -1, -2, -2 minus 3, -5. Now we do the 0. F of 0 equals 2, parentheses 0 minus 3. And the reason that I like doing the f of is because this parentheses here, that's basically saying, okay, anywhere there's a parenthesis, we should be putting in a 0. So anywhere there's an x, we put in these numbers. 2 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 3 is -3. X equals 1. So f of 1. 2 times 1 minus 3. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 3 is -1. And we already know what the last one's going to be because I messed up at the beginning. So we do x equals +2 now. We get f of 2 equals 2 times 2 minus 3. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 3 is +1. So there we go. So now that we have that all filled out, we can graph. So again, we're just going to graph each point individually and then connect them. So we're going to do -2, -7. So -2, -7, -1, -5, 0, -3, 1, -1, 2, 1. Put all the dots on the graph, connect them with a line. Right, sorry for that mistake, but there is our video on graphing using input-output tables.